These pencils, these 4 pencils, control 4,000 crores of the Indian stationery market. Now if you zoom out and think about your school life, you remember using this, or even this. But this brand DOMS is what is bringing in the new disruption in the pencil industry. It does feel a little weird to talk about a pencil brand's growth strategy. But trust me, DOMS' story of taking on big incumbent companies to now owning the pencil market is fascinating. In today's video, we'll talk about how a small pencil manufacturing company from Ambergaon is on its way to cross 1,000 crores in revenue this year. How they've not only cracked the stationery market, but beat big giants like Apsara, Nataraj and Camlin. This is a business story of how the smallest companies can beat crowded markets when they are customer and product focused. Let's dig in with all our insights. Okay, coming to the Indian stationery market. See, there are 4 main families that control the entire industry here. There's Hindustan Pencils. They own major brands like Nataraj and Apsara, and also the largest manufacturing unit, making 8 million pencils a day. Then we have the Dandekars that control Kukuyo Camlin. Then we have the Dhankanis, who are basically an OEM manufacturing pencils for other brands. And lastly, we have Santosh Revashia and his family that run DOMS. The entire stationery market of India is about 4,000 crores, but pencils are a commoditized product, which is why they've made the big players bleed. Take Hindustan Pencils for example. They've seen their profits go from 9 crores in 2015 to about 1 crore in 2018. But Kukuyo Camlin has seen their profits go from 4.9 crores to 9.8 crores in 3 years. But DOMS has gone from 13 crores in 2014 to 26 crores in 2017. The company in fact has been so impressive that it's growing at over 20% CAGR since 2013. And while both its competitors, Hindustan Pencils and Camlin, have made about 500 crores in revenue, DOMS stands at 700 crores last year and are confident of achieving 1,000 crores in revenue this year, a 60% growth compared to pre-COVID levels of 2020. Okay, enough context set about the market and DOMS as a company. Now the big question is, how did they really do it? We'll go into 5 big insights that worked amazingly well for DOMS. Starting with focus on product. DOMS has an uncanny focus on product innovation. The basic principle is, if you make a great product your customers will love, they'll buy more and recommend it to their friends, to the extent that they choose product excellence over marketing and branding. This zeal for product innovation has actually led them to become the largest polymer pencil maker globally. And this is important because pencils have always been made from graphite, which is safe and non-toxic. Regular wooden pencils have always used a combination of clay and graphite for their leads. But DOMS uses graphite mixed with a polymer, basically a plastic, to make their lead smoother so it glides across the page. This is an example of understanding your target audience, which for DOMS is actually school-going kids who don't really care about pencil strokes or width of their nib. Their core job to be done with a pencil is to write at home or at school. So mixing a polymer with graphite made sure that DOMS pencils had a stronger and a blacker lead, giving kids a smoother writing experience that created a massive difference. And there's small innovation on having a triangle pencil body. Their TG, which is school-going kids, they essentially write for 4 to 5 hours in general every day. The idea was to create a pencil that improved their grip while writing and removed strain on their fingers. And it did. Kids loved it. This product innovation is also succeeding because DOMS controls production end-to-end in-house. They source their own wood, their own lead, and their own paint. Most of DOMS products are built from scratch, making the company extremely cost-efficient and super self-reliant. With this, were they not only able to optimize on cost, but also maintain great quality, which kids loved. Second, they understood their ideal customer profile to the core. See, for any product to be bought, there are influencers and there are purchasers. For example, think about that family uncle that sells you health insurance. In that case, they're the influencers who are persuading you to buy a health insurance, and you are the purchaser of it. Similarly, the stationery category has a distinct set of end users, influencers, and purchasers, and it has evolved over time. So if you were a 90s kid, for example, your parents were probably both the influencers and the purchasers. They would just give you a new pencil box and copies at the start of a new session, and you used it without asking any questions. Basically, you had very little say about the brand or design of books or type of pencil that you would want to take to school. This can be for multiple reasons, right? A lower per capita income level back then, lack of modernization, no aspirational brands in the market, etc. But all of that has changed now. Children have now become the influencers. They see their friends using cool new gadgets and naturally want to keep up with them. In this nexus, children have started to influence their parents to get them the coolest looking new gadgets, goods, and of course, dorm stationery. And this also brings us to a surprising but subtle tactic by dorms: their brand. Now, before we get into that, if you've been liking these growth insights, you will love our bi-weekly newsletter, Growth Shots. It's subscribed by over 85,000 founders and growth leaders from companies like DoorDash, Uber, Google, Cred, Razorpay, you name it. The link to subscribe to it is in the description. We have recently posted a piece on how India's 8,000 crore sexual wellness category is exploding. Let us know what you think of it. Okay, let's get back to it. As aspirations of the Indian consumer have risen, more international brands like Faber-Castell and Kors have entered the market, making the stationery market highly competitive in both quality and price. And the only way to distinguish in a commoditized market is by building a brand. You see, brand consciousness amongst consumers has increased, and people want promise, which they're ready to pay extra for. With Dom's central philosophy to choose a great product over marketing and advertising, they cracked branding beautifully, especially their packaging. Think about it. Dom's was all the rage when kids started bringing their stationery to school, and the devil was in the little aha moments. Their pencils, erasers, and sharpeners were all colorful. They were also triangular, as we discussed, which differentiated them instantly from other products in the market. And there was also a super subtle nuance. Dom's products like their erasers had a distinct sweet smell that kids love. They create a super brag-worthy experience which kids raved about in their friend circle. And this created an endless word-of-mouth loop for Dom's and tremendous brand love that boosted organic sales without the need to push for ads and marketing. Distribution. Santosh Revashia, the man heading Dom's, worked with Kisan for 2 years to figure out what works for distribution in India. This helped him in cracking distribution to its core. Today, Dom's has over 1,000 channel partners and 3,000 distributors based across key cities like Ahmedabad, Surat, Rajkot, and Mumbai, amongst many others. Now, to get away from spending massively on marketing, as we've discussed, they focused majorly on sales, R&D, and people management, building a massive sales network that was unconventional and way ahead of its time, and something that MNCs do today, by the way. Now, because Fila is a 51% owner in Dom's, Dom's also gets to ride on their global presence and supply their pencils to 150 countries. In those days, companies weren't very vigilant about how their distribution networks work. Dom's wanted to change this, and they ensured that its entire distribution base maintained full transparency with each other. They also famously say that their channel members are connected as family members, which for sure has done massively well for them, by the way. If you're in India, go to a stationery shop near you. The chances of you finding a Dom stationery compared to any other incumbent players is massive. Real money is in bundling. As is with any low average order value product, Dom's understood that the real money is not in selling single pencils worth 2 rupees or 7 rupees. It's in selling a bundle. Think about it. Companies like McDonald's have done it for ages. You buy a Big Mac and they're like, hey, why don't you also get fries with it? And while you're at it, why don't you also get a Coke? Oh, actually, if you buy a meal, you pay less than individual items and you get more value. See, the trick here is that all products should be complementary to the main core product. Dom's understood this before any of their competitors. So, they made bundles like the Smart Drawing Kit, art kits, and gifting ranges and priced them modestly between 350 and 500 rupees. And this has done wonders for them and increase their margins. And even though their main revenue is generated via their 5 rupees pencils, they're now going deeper into solving for kits as they get into their next phase of growth. This plays a massive role in Dom's having one of the highest net profit margins in the industry at 6%. Compare this to the net profit margin of Camlin and Hindustan pencils in FY18, which was at 0.15%.